Welcome to the most mysterious corner of our planet, Antarctica. The white silence stretching to the horizon conceals secrets that have been stirring the imagination of scientists and researchers for decades. Did you know that from the depths of the Antarctic ice, sometimes strange sounds can be heard? Low-frequency rumbles and cracks that cannot be explained by ordinary physical processes. Beneath the multi-kilometer thick ice, ancient subglacial lakes lie, isolated from the outside world for millions of years. What secrets do their dark waters hold? What forms of life could have evolved there, in complete isolation from the rest of the world? The ice formations of the continent are sometimes so bizarre and symmetrical that they seem to have been created by intelligent beings, not blind forces of nature. And the geological anomalies of Antarctica challenge modern science. Strange magnetic deviations, inexplicable heat sources under the ice, mysterious structures emerging through the ice. Is this nature's game, or the traces of something greater? Some researchers claim that beneath the ice shield there could be a whole lost world, ancient landscapes and ecosystems preserved in time. But is this true? And are we ready for the mysteries that the coldest continent on Earth may reveal to us? The most astonishing thing is that the mysterious sounds of Antarctica are just the tip of the iceberg of the unknown. Special attention should be paid to the enigmatic low-frequency sound known as Bloop, which was first recorded by hydrophones of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration of the United States in 1997. This ultra-low, prolonged sound, reminiscent of a deep sigh of an unknown creature, spread over a distance of more than 5,000 kilometers in the waters of the Southern Ocean. What could have caused such a powerful sound phenomenon? Official science offers several explanations, from the carving of giant icebergs to the release of gas bubbles from the seabed. However, many researchers note the strange regularity and almost musical structure of the bloop, which makes one wonder, is this a manifestation of some intelligent activity beneath the Antarctic ice? Besides the bloop, hydrophones regularly record a symphony of inexplicable sounds. Whistle, slow down, Julia, each with its unique acoustic profile and mysterious origin. Local researchers who have spent long months on stations tell of strange sound anomalies, whispering voices coming from desolate ice fields, a melodic hum arising in windless nights, a metallic screech seemingly coming from the depths of the continent. Professor Alexander Vershinin, an acoustic oceanologist who has been studying the sound landscape of Antarctica for decades, admits, "We encounter phenomena that do not fit into our modern scientific models. Some sounds seem to violate the acoustic laws we know. There is something deeply unsettling about these sounds. They seem to break the eternal silence of the icy continent, reminding us that beneath the lifeless surface there may be an entire unexplored world." Bioacoustic research suggests that some of the sounds may belong to unknown marine species that have evolved in isolation in the cold waters of Antarctica. Could there be creatures in these harsh depths whose size and capabilities exceed our understanding? Geologists, in turn, point to the unique tectonic activity of the Antarctic shelf. Underwater volcanoes, hydrothermal sources, movement of tectonic plates, creating acoustic phenomena not found anywhere else on the planet. However, the most intriguing theories link these sounds to ancient technologies, possibly belonging to a civilization that inhabited this region before the onset of the Ice Age. Some researchers point to a strange correlation between the activity of the bloop and magnetic anomalies in certain areas of Antarctica. These sounds are like messages from the past, encrypted acoustic codes that we are not yet able to decipher. Despite all attempts to explain these acoustic phenomena, they remain one of the most intriguing mysteries of the sixth continent. Listening to these mysterious sounds, one cannot help but ask, what is Antarctica trying to tell us with its ghostly voice, echoing through the centuries of ice and silence? And are we ready to hear its message, hidden in these enigmatic vibrations, resonating through the icy deserts and depths of the southern seas? If the mysterious sounds of Antarctica make us listen to the whisper of the icy continent, then its subglacial lakes entice us to peer into the depths that have been hidden from human eyes for millions of years. Like crystal sarcophagi of ancient secrets, hundreds of water bodies lie beneath the multi-kilometer thickness of Antarctic ice, the most famous of which is Lake Vostok, a colossal reservoir of liquid water the size of Lake Ontario, isolated from the outside world for more than 25 million years. Imagine, when the last dinosaurs disappeared from the face of the Earth, the waters of Lake Vostok were already beginning their long imprisonment under the thickening ice crust. What secrets might these pristine waters hold? Never having known the touch of sunlight, Russian scientists, drilling ice above Lake Vostok for decades, have encountered inexplicable difficulties. Equipment malfunctioned, data was distorted, and water samples exhibited anomalous properties that defied standard analysis. Professor Sergei Bulatov, who led one of the expeditions, admits, "We encountered something that challenges our understanding of biochemistry and the evolution of life. Preliminary research indicates the presence of microorganisms with unique metabolic pathways and genetic codes significantly different from anything known to science. Could these isolated ecosystems have evolved along a completely different path, creating life forms fundamentally different from those on the surface? And if microorganisms could adapt to these extreme conditions, what other creatures might inhabit the dark depths of subglacial lakes?" Some biologists propose the possibility of complex multicellular organisms that have evolved in isolation for millions of years and potentially reached extraordinary forms of adaptation. Geothermal activity discovered at the bottom of Lake Vostok creates conditions reminiscent of deep-sea hydrothermal sources, which on Earth are the cradle of unique ecosystems. But the subglacial lakes of Antarctica are not just potential sanctuaries for unknown forms of life. They are true time capsules preserving information about the climate history of our planet. Their bottom sediments may contain a continuous record spanning tens of millions of years, a period during which Antarctica transformed from a lush continent into an icy desert. What can these ancient layers of silt tell us about past cataclysms and possible future scenarios? Particularly intriguing are the data obtained from scanning the bottoms of some subglacial lakes. Ground-penetrating radars have detected strange geometric structures too regular to be the result of natural processes. Professor Elena Voronina, a specialist in remote sensing, cautiously comments, "We see formations that are hard to explain with known geological mechanisms. Their regularity and symmetry suggest a possible artificial origin. Could ancient civilizations have left their traces on the continent that was inhabited before the onset of the Ice Age? And if so, what could have driven them to build structures on the bottom of lakes? Perhaps these were temples or shelters built in anticipation of an impending catastrophe, or are they merely the result of nature's trickery, creating forms that deceive our perception?" The International Scientific Consortium, Subglacial Worlds, plans an ambitious project to study these water bodies using autonomous underwater robots capable of penetrating the lake's waters without risking their contamination. But many researchers express concerns. Is humanity ready for what might be discovered beneath the Antarctic ice? Are we about to disturb something that should have remained hidden? After all, these ancient waters have been keeping their secrets for millions of years, and perhaps there is a reason why nature has so securely sealed them beneath kilometers of ice, separating them from the human world by an impenetrable barrier of eternal frost. But not only the subglacial lakes of Antarctica hold mysteries that baffle scientists. The waters surrounding the icy continent conceal no less enigmatic phenomena. Tabular icebergs, these colossal ice platforms with remarkably regular geometric shapes, as if carved by a giant supernatural chisel. Imagine an ice monolith the size of a small city, with perfectly straight edges, right angles, and a flat surface like a table. Such unnatural regularity of forms compels the observer to ponder whether nature, known for its fractal, irregular formations, can create structures of such perfect geometry. The most striking example is Iceberg A68, discovered by NASA satellites in 2018, a rectangular ice giant with nearly perfect right angles, resembling an architectural structure more than a natural formation. When I first saw these images, I was struck by the geometric precision of the iceberg, admits glaciologist Thomas Harrington. Even knowing the mechanism of formation of tabular icebergs, it's hard not to feel a strange sense that you're looking at something created by intelligence, not by the forces of nature. Official science explains the origin of tabular icebergs through natural processes of carving from ice shelves, where ice, spreading over the ocean surface, forms flat plates that then break along lines of tension. However, some researchers point to strange anomalies in the structure of the ice of some tabular icebergs, where concentric circles and spiral patterns are visible only in special infrared photography. Professor Elena Sokolova, who studied these structures, notes, "In nature, there are processes of crystallization that can create ordered structures, but the regularity and scale of these formations go beyond known models." No less mysterious are the so-called ice circles, perfectly circular formations in ice, with diameters ranging from several meters to hundreds of meters, found both in the coastal waters of Antarctica and in the central regions of the continent. Unlike similar formations in the northern hemisphere, Antarctic ice circles are distinguished by their remarkable geometric precision and often form patterns reminiscent of constellations or ancient symbolic systems. A Russian expedition led by Professor Alexander Makarov in 2015 recorded a series of 7 concentric circles located at equal distances from each other near Queen Maud Land. Detailed analysis of satellite images of this region over previous years revealed that such formations periodically appear and disappear as if following some unknown cycle. What is even more astonishing, geothermal sources were found under some of these circular structures, the activity of which, by strange coincidence, also follows cyclic patterns. We observe a correlation between the appearance of ice circles and surges of geothermal activity, but the mechanism linking these phenomena remains unclear, says Professor Makarov. It's as if something under the ice is pulsing in a certain rhythm, leaving its traces on the surface. Legends of the indigenous peoples of Tierra del Fuego, passed down through generations long before the first European expeditions to Antarctica, mention circles of spirits on the southern continent, which, according to the legends, are portals to the underworld that open in certain astronomical cycles. Anthropologists long considered these stories to be purely mythological constructs until modern satellite observations revealed a striking correspondence between the places described in the legends and real geometric anomalies in the ice cover. Is this a mere coincidence? Or did ancient peoples possess knowledge of the continent that was supposedly discovered only in the 19th century? And if tabular icebergs and ice circles make us ponder the strange geometric laws of Antarctic nature, another phenomenon challenges our very understanding of the physics of ice: the blood waterfall of Taylor, a sinister stream of crimson-red water flowing from a crack in the glacier and staining the snow-white slopes in a blood-red hue. For many years, scientists could not explain the origin of this phenomenon until research revealed the existence of an ancient saltwater lake isolated from the outside world for more than 2 million years under the ice. The iron-rich water of this subglacial reservoir, coming into contact with oxygen in the air, oxidizes, acquiring a characteristic red tint. But even more astonishing, this ancient water contains microorganisms that have evolved unique metabolic pathways, allowing them to survive without sunlight and oxygen, using iron and sulfur as energy sources, demonstrating biochemical processes not found anywhere else on Earth. Could these microorganisms be relics of an ancient biosphere that has survived in isolation since the times when Antarctica was a warm, flourishing continent? And if simple forms of life could adapt to such extreme conditions, what other surprises might the icy continent hide in its depths? Indeed, Taylor's Blood Falls is merely the visible part of a much deeper mystery hidden within the continent of Antarctica, which holds in its icy embrace evidence of a completely different past. Beneath the multi-kilometer-thick ice sheet lie fossilized remains of ancient forests, flowering valleys, and rich ecosystems that thrived here millions of years ago. In 2017, an international group of geologists drilling in the Ross Ice Shelf region extracted cores containing petrified wood and pollen from plants dating back to the Middle Eocene period, a time when Antarctica was covered in lush forests, reminiscent of those found today in New Zealand or Patagonia. When we first saw these samples under the microscope, it was as if time stood still, recalls paleobotanist Dr. Maria Ivanovska. Before us were perfectly preserved cellular structures of leaves from southern beech trees, ferns, and even flowering plants. It was as if the past of Antarctica had suddenly come to life before our eyes. The most striking discovery was the fossilized remains of Nothofagus, southern beech trees, whose modern descendants grow in Chile and Australia. However, the Antarctic samples differ from contemporary species. They exhibit adaptations to polar night and prolonged twilight, with increased leaf surface area and unusual pigmentation. allowing them to maximize the capture of scarce polar summer sunlight. What caused this flourishing world to disappear under kilometers of ice? Official science points to a gradual cooling of the climate and the separation of Antarctica from other continents, leading to the formation of the circumpolar current that isolated the continent from warm equatorial waters. However, some geologists, including Professor James Wilson of Oxford University, note the strange suddenness of this change. Our data show that the transition from a temperate climate to a glacial regime occurred not over millions of years, as previously thought, but within a few thousand years, a blink of an eye in geological terms. It was as if a switch had been flipped. Even more enigmatic are the findings made by a Russian expedition in the mountains of Gamburtsev, a mountain range completely hidden under the Antarctic ice sheet. Seismic research and radar scanning revealed not only the outlines of these mysterious mountains, but also strange geological formations resembling terraced slopes characteristic of ancient agriculture. Of course, we are not claiming that these are artificial structures, comments expedition leader Professor Nikolai Sergeyev cautiously. But the regularity of these formations and their similarity to anthropogenic landscapes are astonishing. Nature rarely creates such orderly structures. In 2012, the international project drilling into Lake Vostok, after penetrating the water layer of the ancient subglacial lake, extracted samples containing microscopic fragments that some researchers interpreted as processed stone. Professor Jean-Paul Dumont from the Sorbonne, who studied these samples, notes, "Under the electron microscope, one can see traces that are difficult to explain by natural processes, parallel grooves, regular facets, characteristic of primitive stone processing. But the dating indicates an age of more than 12 million years, long before the appearance of humans. Could these traces have been left by some unknown form of intelligent life that evolved on the isolated continent? Or is this simply the result of unknown geological processes, creating the illusion of artificial processing?" In 2019, a Chinese expedition working in the region of Wilkes Land discovered something even more strange. Fossilized remains resembling the bones of vertebrates, but with anatomy not corresponding to any known taxonomic group. Professor Li Jiang, who led the research, describes the find as follows. These creatures had a skeletal structure combining traits of reptiles and mammals, but with unique adaptations that we do not observe in any known group of animals. Particularly unusual is the structure of the skull, with large eye sockets and specialized sensory organs, resembling the electroreceptors of some fish. Were these strange creatures the result of isolated evolution on the Antarctic continent, developing along its own path before the ice buried this unique world? And how many more secrets does the ice shield covering almost 14 million square kilometers of ancient land hold? Perhaps beneath the ice sheet lie not only evidence of long-lost ecosystems, but also keys to understanding alternative paths of evolution, relics of unknown civilizations, or proof of catastrophic events that changed the face of our planet. Each fragment, each fossil extracted from beneath the ice shield of Antarctica, lifts a veil from this lost world, but also raises new questions to which we currently have no answers. In this icy archive of Earth, perhaps stories are recorded that will completely change our understanding of the past of our planet and the evolution of life on it. Even among these astonishing enigmas of ancient Antarctica, the blood falls of Taylor remain perhaps the most visually stunning phenomenon, captivating the gaze of anyone who has had the chance to witness it. Imagine this. Amidst the silent snow-white expanses, a terrifying crimson stream suddenly appears, slowly oozing from the glacier, as if the earth itself is bleeding. Its eerie crimson streams flowing down the pale icy slopes create such a surreal scene that the discoverer of this phenomenon, geologist Griffith Taylor, was deeply moved in 1911. "It seemed as if the glacier itself was bleeding," he wrote in his diary. "There is something primeval and frightening about this sight, as if we had caught nature in some secret, unmeant for human eyes ritual." Local researchers dubbed this phenomenon the blood of the ice giants, and among some expedition members, there were even superstitious whispers that this place was cursed. Modern science, of course, offers a less mystical explanation. The red color of the water is due to a high concentration of iron oxide, which is brought to the surface from an isolated subglacial lake that has been cut off from the outside world for millions of years. In this ancient lake, devoid of sunlight, a unique ecosystem of microorganisms has evolved, capable of surviving in extreme conditions, high salinity, lack of oxygen, and significant iron content. Professor Jill McCookie from the University of Tennessee, who studied water samples from the blood falls, found 17 different types of microbes adapted to life in this alien environment. These organisms are like time capsules, she says. They could have evolved in isolation from the rest of the world for anywhere from 1 to 5 million years. Yet, despite the scientific explanations, it is hard to shake off the thought that in another era, such a phenomenon would have inevitably given rise to legends of underground monsters, blood-red mountains, or entrances to otherworldly realms. Ancient cultures, from the Sumerians to the Maya, often associated red water with portals to the underworld or dwellings of powerful deities. How would our ancestors have reacted to finding this terrifying crimson stream amidst the ice? What myths and rituals could have arisen around this place? And can we be certain that we fully understand the nature of this phenomenon? For the water of the blood falls contains not only iron and microorganisms, but also strange compounds whose origin still sparks debate among scientists. In 2018, an international group of geochemists discovered unusual metal-organic complexes in water samples, which, according to Dr. Erik Steinmark from the University of Stockholm, demonstrate a structure that is difficult to explain with known biochemical processes. Some researchers suggest that these compounds could be products of the life activities of yet undiscovered forms of life adapted to the extreme conditions of the subglacial lake. Others point to a possible connection with deep-seated geothermal processes occurring beneath the Antarctic crust. What if the blood falls of Taylor are just a visible symptom of much larger and more mysterious processes taking place within the depths of the icy continent? What if, beneath the multi-kilometer-thick layer of ice, there is a network of interconnected subglacial lakes inhabited by life forms that have evolved along a completely different path than the rest of Earth's biosphere? And is this ominous red stream not a kind of message from this hidden world? A hint at the existence of a parallel biosphere that has developed in isolation for millions of years? The blood falls of Taylor remain one of the most striking reminders that even in our era of space travel and quantum computers, Earth still harbors mysteries that can astound the imagination and challenge our understanding of nature. If we turn our gaze 500 kilometers west of the Bloody Falls, we will discover yet another astonishing enigma of Antarctica, the mysterious pyramid-shaped mountains of the Ellsworth Range. These majestic geological formations, towering amidst the endless ice expanses, are striking with their almost perfectly symmetrical shapes, so precise that one cannot help but wonder if nature, acting blindly, could have created such geometrically perfect structures. The first aerial photographs of these enigmatic mountains, taken in 1957 by an American expedition, caused a sensation in the scientific community. We expected to see a typical Antarctic landscape, but instead we found something that looked man-made at first glance, recalled Professor Robert Davidson, a participant in that historic expedition. Among these mysterious formations, the so-called Winson Pyramid stands out, a colossal mountain structure 4,892 meters high, with its sides oriented almost exactly to the cardinal directions, much like the Great Pyramid of Giza. Geologists explain the formation of these extraordinary structures through processes of tectonic uplift and subsequent erosion, where wind and ice over millions of years have carved the rock into this characteristic pyramid shape. When two or more glacial valleys cut into a mountain range from different sides, they can form a sharp-peaked summit with several faces, explains Dr. Elena Sokolova, a geomorphologist from the Institute of Geology, RAS. However, even among specialists, there is no consensus on how these symmetrical structures could have formed. Some point to the unusual mineralogical composition of these mountains, rich in quartzites and other hard rocks, which could have resisted erosion differently, leading to the formation of such precise geometric forms. Others note the strange orientation of the pyramid peaks and their arrangement relative to each other, forming almost a perfect grid over an area of several hundred square kilometers. The statistical probability of such an arrangement is extremely low, admits Professor James Wilson from Cambridge University. But this does not mean we are dealing with artificial structures. Rather, It suggests some as yet unexplored laws in the geological processes of the region. However, beyond academic circles, these mysterious formations have given rise to a whole spectrum of alternative theories. Some enthusiasts of ancient civilizations point to the striking similarity of the Ellsworth pyramids to the megalithic structures of Egypt, Mesoamerica, and Southeast Asia. The angle of inclination of the Winson pyramid is approximately 52 degrees, almost identical to the angle of inclination of the Great Pyramid of Khufu, notes independent researcher Thomas Winters. Coincidence? Perhaps. But what if these structures are the last remnants of some pre-flood civilization that flourished in Antarctica before the onset of the Ice Age? This hypothesis, of course, contradicts everything we know about the geological and climatic history of the continent. Modern science asserts that Antarctica has been under an ice cap for at least 14 million years, and full-scale glaciation began around 34 million years ago, long before the emergence of humans as a species. And yet, looking at these magnificent, almost otherworldly formations, it is hard to shake off the feeling that they hold some ancient secret. Perhaps it is not the artificial nature of these structures that is important, but the fact that they represent some natural phenomenon that our ancestors intuitively reproduced in their monumental architecture. What if the pyramid shape is not just an aesthetic choice of ancient builders, but a reflection of some fundamental geometric principles inherent in the very structure of our reality? In 2019, an international expedition using advanced radar scanning methods discovered a large cavity beneath one of the pyramid-shaped mountains of the Ellsworth Range, resembling an inverted pyramid in shape. This is absolutely a natural formation, likely the result of uneven melting of underground ice, the official representatives of the expedition hastened to declare. But what if this void is not just a geological anomaly? What if beneath the thickness of the Antarctic ice lies something capable of revolutionizing our understanding of the history of Earth and human civilization? As of now, these questions remain unanswered, and the pyramid-shaped mountains of the Ellsworth Range continue to silently tower amidst the endless ice expanses, guarding their secrets from the curious eyes of humanity. And who knows what other mysteries this most unexplored and inhospitable continent of our planet may still hold. But this is not the only mystery that Antarctica hides. In recent decades, scientists have begun to record strange magnetic anomalies that seem to permeate this icy continent. These anomalies are areas where Earth's magnetic field deviates from the norm, creating remarkable and sometimes frightening effects. Many of these anomalies have been discovered through satellite observations and ground research, and their origin continues to be a subject of debate among scientists. How can such invisible forces influence our reality? Some researchers suggest that these magnetic anomalies could be the result of underground geological processes, such as tectonic movements or the presence of large mineral deposits with magnetic properties. However, even these scientific explanations are unable to fully dispel the aura of mystery that surrounds them. There are those who believe that these anomalies may be linked to something more mysterious and unknown, possibly remnants of ancient technologies that could have existed on this continent long before its glaciation. How can such things exist in the modern world? Asks Dr. Anastasia Mitrofanova, a researcher of magnetic fields. We consider this as a natural phenomenon, but what if this is just the tip of the iceberg? Can we consider these anomalies merely as geophysical anomalies, or do they hide something more, waiting to be discovered? Looking at maps of magnetic anomalies, it is hard not to notice that they, like mysterious signs, are arranged in strange configurations, evoking associations with ancient symbols and maps used by forgotten civilizations. Some researchers even suggest that these anomalies may be connected to mythological concepts describing magical places where the power of the Earth is most vividly manifested. The question arises, are these magnetic anomalies not a reminder that we are still only scratching the surface of the mysteries that not only Antarctica but our planet as a whole hides? While scientists continue to decipher these invisible phenomena, the mysteries remain. What are the true causes of these anomalies? And perhaps, is there something that we cannot even imagine? Regardless, Antarctica continues to be a place full of mysteries and unexplored horizons, and who knows what other secrets lie beneath the thick layer of ice, waiting for their time to be revealed. Antarctic ice caves, another enigma that captivates with its grandeur and at the same time evokes awe. These natural formations, created by the forces of nature, are true repositories of ancient beauty, where every corner seems to breathe history and mystery. Imagine stepping into these ice halls, and before you unfold something extraordinary. Walls shimmering in all shades of blue, from delicate sky blue to deep indigo, as if they have captured the light rays piercing through the ice. But how did these mysterious caves form? They arise from complex natural processes where warm air and water currents interact with cold, creating ice catacomb systems. This remarkable interplay of temperature fluctuations and water movement results in the formation of tunnels and halls where ice takes on the most whimsical shapes. But behind this natural phenomenon lies something more. What is it like to be in a space where time seems to have stopped? Each drop of water trickling down the icy walls can tell a story of millions of years, and each crack in the ice is a trace left by unknown forces. Some scientists believe that these caves may not just be geological formations, but rather portals that have blocked our path to understanding nature. How could ordinary natural processes create such magical places? Perhaps the ice caves hold not only beauty, but also ancient secrets waiting to be revealed. Local inhabitants tell legends of encountering ancestral spirits who guard ancient knowledge in these caves. What is it like to confront something we can only imagine? Some researchers, including Professor Maxim Svedov, claim that these caves hold more than just ice. Every time I descend into these caves, I feel that they are connected to something we cannot yet explain. But what secrets do these ice formations hide? What are their true powers, which could influence the climate and ecology of the region? We know that ice caves play a crucial role in maintaining the ecosystem. But what if their nature is much more complex than we can imagine? From the ice caves, we transition to another mysterious aspect of Antarctica, the blue ice, which is even more enigmatic and captivating. This extraordinary element, seemingly created by pure magic, is an integral part of the glacial landscape that continues to unfold mysteries. How does it form, and what secrets does this amazing ice hold? Mirages and optical illusions are yet another mystery that makes Antarctica such an intriguing place, shrouded in a veil of secrecy. These phenomena, arising from unique atmospheric conditions, can distort reality and create illusions that can almost be magical. Imagine standing amidst the vast expanses of white silence, when suddenly something unusual appears before you. On the horizon, where ice and sky merge into one, you see the outlines of mountains that seem to float in the air, surrounded by a light mist. This is nothing other than a fata morgana, an optical illusion caused by the refraction of light in layers of air with different temperatures. How is this possible? Warm air rising above the cold ocean creates conditions for light to bend, and we see something that is actually far beyond our perception. But what lies behind these mirages? Perhaps they are reflections of ancient secrets that this continent holds in its depths. Icy landscapes, seemingly simple and clear, are in fact full of riddles that can be deceptive. But what are their true causes? Some researchers believe that such illusions can induce a sense of disorientation in people, making them question what is real and what is merely a play of light. There are even theories that these mirages could be windows into other worlds that we cannot see under normal conditions. How could ordinary atmospheric phenomena lead to the creation of such extraordinary optical effects? Local residents tell stories of sometimes seeing the silhouettes of ancient people walking along the horizon, as if they are returning to us from a distant past. This raises the question, could nature itself preserve memories of those who once inhabited these lands? What is it like to witness such phenomena when reality begins to distort, and the boundaries between reality and dream become blurred? Scientists studying these phenomena assert that mirages are not just optical illusions, but keys to understanding the interaction of light and atmosphere in the most extreme conditions. Some even suggest that such visual phenomena could indicate hidden underwater structures and even potential resources that could be discovered beneath the ice. But what if and what else might await us in this icy kingdom filled with riddles and wonders? In the dry valleys of McMurdo, one can find tufted seaweed, which, despite its simplicity, is an amazing example of evolution and survival. These organisms, along with other representatives of flora and fauna, have adapted to conditions that at first glance seem absolutely inhospitable to life. How did they find their way in this icy world? Perhaps they hold the answers to questions about the limits of life and how it can manifest in the most unexpected forms. Researchers working in this unique region assert that studying these microorganisms could open new horizons in understanding life on Earth and beyond. But this is not the only mystery hidden in the dry valleys. Here, one can also find strange geological formations that puzzle scientists. The walls of the canyons, which appear to have been carved by a skilled hand, make one wonder. Could ancient civilizations have left their traces in these desolate places? Or is this just nature's game, creating its own masterpieces over millions of years? The dry valleys of McMurdo are not just a geographical object, but a true laboratory of nature, where each element and detail has its own history and mysteries. What are the origins of this extraordinary place? What else might this Martian landscape, still one of the least explored corners of our planet, hide? Many secrets await discovery, and perhaps they will help us better understand not only our planet, but the very essence of life. In this barren yet wondrous world, questions without answers continue to entice researchers and adventurers eager to unravel the mysteries hidden here. What other secrets might lie beneath the surface, waiting for humanity to uncover them? But this is not the only mystery that the dry valleys of McMurdo conceal. In this remote part of the Earth, where frost and wind shape the landscape, scientists have also discovered an astonishing number of meteorites scattered across the lifeless surface. Antarctica, with its unique climate and conditions, becomes a treasure trove for researchers in search of cosmic stones. Why is it that this vast quantity of meteorites is concentrated here in this icy desert? The reason is that snow and ice act as natural traps, preserving meteorites in their pristine state, while on other parts of the Earth they may be eroded or simply buried in the ground. Here, in the silent whiteness, meteorites can be found in their original form, making Antarctica an ideal place for their study. Each discovered meteorite is a window into the past, a chance to peer into the depths of our solar system, and perhaps even into the mysteries of the origin of life on Earth. Some of these meteorites contain unusual elements and structures that lead scientists to ponder how planets formed, how conditions for life arose, and what might have happened in the earliest moments of our solar system's existence. How could it be that these stones born in the hearts of stars now lie on our planet, and what stories do they hold? For instance, some meteorites found in Antarctica contain organic molecules that may testify to ancient processes that occurred on other planets or even in the depths of space. What are their secrets? This raises many questions. Could these meteorites have brought crucial components for the emergence of life on Earth? Or were they witnesses to cosmic catastrophes that altered the course of history in our solar system? The study of meteorites found in Antarctica also provides insights into how our ancestors perceived celestial bodies, what legends and myths might have arisen around them. Meteorites are not just stones. They are messages from the distant past, possibly holding mysteries that could change our understanding of life and its origin on our planet. However, despite all the scientific achievements, many questions remain unanswered. What is the true nature of these meteorites? What can they tell us about life on other planets? And perhaps, somewhere in the vast expanse of the cosmos, there are even more mysterious objects waiting to be discovered in this icy wasteland. How many more secrets does the universe hold? And how many of them might be uncovered in this frozen wilderness? But this is not the only mystery that Antarctica hides. Diving into its icy depths, we encounter another intriguing secret: subglacial volcanoes hidden beneath the massive ice shield. These volcanoes, hidden from view, may seem like something out of a fantasy, but they are real and possess immense geological significance. How is this possible? How can active volcanoes exist in such a harsh climate, where cold and emptiness reign? Research shows that beneath the thick layer of ice lie pockets of hot magma that cause subglacial geothermal activity. Heating the ice, these volcanoes create local areas of warmth, resulting in the formation of subglacial lakes and rivers. This opens up entirely new horizons for life. As if in a frozen world where everything seems dead and lifeless, life begins to stir. Scientists suggest that it is here, beneath the ice crust, that extraordinary ecosystems may exist, about which we know nothing. How could life adapt to such extreme conditions, and what forms might it take? Some researchers claim that this subglacial world may even contain unique organisms capable of surviving in unknown conditions, challenging our understanding of biology and ecology. But what are the sources of this geothermal activity? How long have they been active, and could they influence global climate change? Scientific research shows that volcanoes beneath the ice shield can be active, and their eruptions can have significant consequences for the surrounding environment. Recall how the eruption of the Eyjafjallajökull volcano in Iceland in 2010 caused chaos in aviation across Europe. What would be the consequences if similar processes occurred at the heart of Antarctica? This raises many questions, each filled with uncertainty. What if these volcanoes become active and begin to affect sea levels, climate conditions, and even the flora and fauna that inhabit the surface? But the mystery does not end there. Research shows that subglacial volcanoes may be linked to ancient myths and legends passed down through generations by local residents. How could people living at the edge of the world know what lies hidden beneath the ice? Perhaps this is not just a coincidence, but echoes of true knowledge about nature that has been lost through the ages. This world, full of mysteries and the inexplicable, continues to remain inaccessible to most of us. How many more secrets are hidden in the depths of Antarctica? What are their origins, and how might they change our understanding of the planet and life on it? In this icy realm, where volcanoes, ancient stories, and unknown creatures lie beneath the surface, we have only just begun to lift the veil on the great mysteries that await discovery. However, this is not the only mystery that Antarctica hides from us. Looking up at the sky, we can see another extraordinary phenomenon: iridescent clouds. These strange formations that appear in polar regions are a truly captivating sight. Unlike the familiar clouds we see, iridescent clouds have rainbow hues and shimmer like precious gems against the cold, silent sky. How do they form in such harsh conditions? Scientific explanations indicate that iridescent clouds form at an altitude of around 20 kilometers, where temperatures can reach -80 degrees Celsius. In such conditions, water droplets freeze and form crystals that, reflecting sunlight, create this magical effect. But how is it possible that in this icy realm, where silence and emptiness reign, such vivid and picturesque clouds appear? Perhaps they are symbols of hidden life awakening at the edge of the world. Scientists believe that these clouds can serve as indicators of climate change, as their rarity and beauty add even more mystery to the Antarctic atmosphere. How can this be? What mechanisms lead to the formation of these clouds, and how are they connected to global changes? Their external splendor may conceal deeper mysteries of our planet. Are there any myths or legends associated with these unusual clouds? Local inhabitants have seen them for centuries and may have attributed special significance to them, interpreting them as signs from above or harbingers of change. What role do they play in ancient beliefs, and how have they influenced the lives of people in these remote corners of the world? These mysterious clouds not only delight the eye, but also raise many questions about how nature can surprise and shock us. Studying iridescent clouds forces us to rethink our understanding of the atmosphere and its interaction with climate. Are they harbingers of global changes that we are not yet aware of? And what else may be hidden in this silent kingdom of ice and snow? Perhaps the answers to these questions lie in the future, when we can better understand the processes occurring on our planet. But like many other mysteries, this phenomenon remains shrouded in secrecy. How many other extraordinary natural phenomena does Antarctica hide? How many more amazing discoveries await us in these icy expanses, where each day can bring new revelations? We are only beginning to realize that the world is full of mysteries, and each one can change our understanding of life, climate, and nature itself. Ancient ice cores and the history of climate. But this is not the only mystery that Antarctica hides from us. Diving into its icy depths, we find remarkable ice cores that serve as true archives of our planet's climate. These cylindrical samples, carved from multi-year ice, preserve layers that have accumulated over millennia, like the pages of an ancient book, chronicling the state of the atmosphere and ecosystems in different eras. Scientists, Extracting these cores can discover within them air bubbles containing information about the composition of the atmosphere in the past. Each of these bubbles holds mysteries that could shed light on the climate changes that have occurred on Earth. How could climate conditions change so drastically that ecosystems that existed for millions of years disappeared without a trace? Some research indicates that in the past, Earth experienced catastrophic changes such as global warming and cooling, which could have led to mass extinctions. How is this possible? Scientists note that in some layers of ice cores, abnormally high levels of carbon dioxide have been found, suggesting that during those times, the climate was significantly warmer than it is today. This raises many questions. What ecosystems existed in those distant times? What impact did these changes have on the lives of animals and humans? Perhaps ancient ice cores not only contain data on climate, but also traces of vanished civilizations that could not adapt to changing conditions. Are there still unsolved mysteries hidden in these icy ages? How many more secrets about the past are contained in these ancient layers, which can tell not only about temperature, but also about life on the planet? Some researchers suggest that by studying these ice archives, we can identify patterns that will help predict future climate changes. But how can we be sure that we are not missing something important that could change our understanding of how nature works? Each new ice core extraction adds new details to the picture of our past. But following these discoveries, we still remain on the threshold of the unknown. How many more secrets are hidden in these snow-white layers, waiting to be revealed? We are just beginning to realize that ice cores can tell us about a world that was and about what might be in the future. Perhaps it is in this silent kingdom of ice that the keys to the mystery, not only of climate change, but also of the very essence of life on Earth lie. What are these keys, and what other undiscovered worlds await their discovery in these frozen records? However, this is not the only mystery that Antarctica hides from us. We delve into its amazing but harsh world, and before us unfold not only the icebergs, but also unique forms of life that thrive in these extreme conditions. The Antarctic fauna, including seals and penguins, demonstrates incredible adaptability that sometimes seems like true miracles of nature. How could life flourish in such a cold, inhospitable environment where temperatures can drop to -50 degrees? These animals, like mysterious creatures from another world, possess unique traits that allow them to survive and reproduce in conditions that seem absolutely hostile to most forms of life. For example, seals have a thick layer of fat and special, water-repellent fur that protects them from the biting cold. Their underwater acrobatics look like a dance as they hunt for fish and squid. How is it possible that they not only survive, but also thrive in such conditions? And penguins, so cute and graceful, like drawings by an artist in white and black, use their wings for swimming, not flying. They form colonies, care for their young, and can endure long winter nights when the sun does not appear on the horizon for weeks. How do they organize their lives to survive in this silent kingdom of ice? Perhaps their social bonds and cooperative abilities are the key to understanding their survival. But this is not the only mystery. Remarkably, among this snow-white silence, other mysterious creatures also exist, such as Antarctic krill and sea stars, which have also adapted to life in conditions of constant cold. They exhibit unique biochemical properties that allow them to survive in icy water, where temperature fluctuations can be catastrophic. What are these wonders of evolution, and why is it that life has found such unusual forms precisely here, in this isolated place? And perhaps among these adaptations lie unsolved mysteries that could shed light on how life can exist even in the most extreme conditions. Scientists and researchers studying this unique ecosystem encounter questions to which they have no answers. What mechanisms allow these creatures to adapt, and what other amazing secrets might lie hidden in the depths of Antarctica? We are only beginning to realize that this place, which seems desolate and lifeless, is actually teeming with life that may have its own mysteries and enigmas. What are these enigmas? And what other amazing discoveries await us in this icy kingdom, where life not only survives, but also thrives in conditions that seem completely unsuitable for existence? Perhaps the answers to these questions can help us better understand not only the nature of Antarctica, but also the very essence of life on Earth. How many more secrets lie hidden in these icy expanses, waiting to be revealed if we can carefully examine their mysteries. Antarctica, this mysterious continent covered in eternal ice, remains a field for endless research and discoveries. Despite its icy appearance, it hides within it numerous fascinating mysteries and scientific interests that continue to evoke our awe. Research shows that beneath the ice lie not only unique ecosystems, but also traces of ancient civilizations about which we can only speculate. How could life that once flourished in these harsh conditions disappear, leaving only hints of its existence? Scientific explanations, such as studying the biochemical adaptations of Antarctic inhabitants, open windows into a world that seems completely incomprehensible. But is that so? What mechanisms allow life to continue even in the most hostile conditions? We see how penguins and seals adapt, but what else might be hidden under the ice waiting to be discovered? These questions, and many others, compel us to continue our research. But this is not just about scientific mysteries. Antarctica is a place where nature reveals its most enigmatic and mystical features. No matter how hard we try to explain these phenomena from a scientific perspective, some aspects of life in this continent remain unexplained, evoking a sense of wonder and a desire to learn more. Perhaps it is in this combination of science and mysticism that the true beauty of Antarctica lies. We invite you to ponder. Which of the presented wonders seemed most captivating to you, and which secrets, in your opinion, might still be hidden in this icy realm? Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to continue exploring the mysterious places of our planet. Together, we will strive to understand those extreme environments that, despite their harshness, continue to stir our imagination and draw us to new discoveries. Antarctica is not just an icy wasteland. It is a world full of wonders waiting to be revealed. How many more secrets lie hidden in these icy expanses, ready to be discovered if we can only pay close attention to their mysteries?